Hello there, this is Brennan Marr, host of Page Turners They Were Not, a Star Wars podcast. And I'm here to tell you about Anchor. Anchor is the best way to make a podcast. Why is that? Well, first off, it's free. Yes, you heard me right. Anchor is free. Anchor has all the tools you need to make a podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you on various platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can make money from your podcast. And get this, with no minimum listenership. That means you can make money even if no one listens to your podcast. That, of course, is not ideal, as Anchor will allow you to spread your podcast, bring in more viewers, and you can make more money because of it. Everything you need to make a podcast is in one place on Anchor. If you're interested, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you, and may the Force be with you. Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my mental hair. And welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Today is a day for discussing controversial topics. Therefore, I'm going to talk to you about why content creators, specifically those at Lucasfilm, should not listen to the fans. Now, before you suddenly press pause and go, what in the world is this idiot talking about? Let me explain what I mean. Let us begin by discussing what constitutes the fans. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. When someone says they should do what the fans want, that is usually code for they should do what I want. That's usually what it means. Now, let's talk about it. Who are the fans? Well, you know what? In our modern age, social media is a marvelous thing, which also has many drawbacks. One of the drawbacks of social media, particularly the Twitter sphere, is the fans that are online on Twitter, doing YouTube videos, doing podcasts. I include myself in this. Have a very loud voice. And have a very loud, or rather, make a rather big impression. Because we have the tools at our disposal to make our voices heard. I am able to reach out there with my podcast and reach many people. Apparently, my podcast has been listened to by someone from Serbia. No joke. Now, I don't have very many followers. I don't have very many listens. But regardless, I am able to make my voice heard. Now, the drawback to this situation is that it might be a temptation for the creators to say, well, look at the fans, look at what they're talking about. And the fans those creators are referring to are those like me who make our voices heard loudly on the internet, particularly on Twitter and other social media platforms. Hollywood and film in general, even beyond Hollywood, cannot allow, in my opinion at least, what's trending on Twitter to define what they make as art. Meaning that Lucasfilm should not make their movies based on people on Twitter. Because I hate to break it to you, but those people, like myself, who have a loud voice on the internet, we are not the fans. We are fans, but we cannot be presumptive and assume that we are the entirety of the fandom. Most fans don't reach out the way we do. Most fans don't make the noise that a lot of us do. We, podcasters, YouTubers, Twitter hounds, we have a loud voice and we are fans. But we do not constitute the entire fandom. It would be a horrendous mistake for Lucasfilm to say, well, these bunch of people on Twitter are saying, do X, Y, Z. Well, the fans have spoken. Let's go do X, Y, Z. That is unwise. It is a difficult balance, however, because the creators need to establish a good relationship with the fandom, but at the same time, make the art they want to make. Let me give you an example. In 1999, it was announced that Peter Jackson, the visionary director of Heavenly Creatures and the Frighteners, was going to direct The Lord of the Rings. TheWondering.net, which is one of the earliest fan websites, was able to establish a very good relationship with Wingnut, which is Peter Jackson's company. And it's a very difficult thing, and I cannot tell you how it works, because it is not a one-size-fits-all. So the delicate balance is that the creators, like Peter Jackson and his team did, need to establish a good connection with the fan base, but at the same time, not allow the fan base to dictate how the movies should be made. Now that's a whole other debate for another time. It's a balance, but ultimately the creative decisions need to be in the hands of the artists who make it. Now, you may recall and some of you may still feel this way, the negativity toward the Star Wars prequels. And how George Lucas, for a time, became public enemy #1 of Star Wars fans. A sentiment that has lasted for many years. George Lucas made the Star Wars prequel trilogy the way he wanted to make it. We, many of us, I should say, did not like it. Some of us still don't. Some of us have changed our minds. And some of us have loved it from day one. But George made the art he wanted to make. And I respect him for that, even if I didn't entirely enjoy it at the time. I still have a hard time enjoying Attack of the Clones, but that's a story for another time. That being said, I think that it is important to let the creators create. They cannot allow their creative decisions to be affected by a fairly small group of people who are on the internet all the time. Or rather, use the tools to make their voices heard. It's important to get involved, I think, while at the same time not presuming that everyone feels the same way we do. When I say we, I mean internet content creators like myself. So I believe that it would be a mistake for Lucasfilm to let Twitter and other social media platforms determine their creative decisions. Not only do those people not represent the fandom at large, and I'm including myself in this, but art needs to be free of those kind of restrictions in my mind. Art needs to be made the way the artists want to make it, and we can take it or leave it. Because I believe that the greatest art comes when the creators are free to do what they feel is right. So, those are my thoughts on the creative process. Fandom should not be ignored, but the creators should be certain that they do not assume that Twitter and other social media platforms represent the sentiments of all fans. So that's just some food for thought. I could go on about this, but I think that I want to leave it at that to kind of create an atmosphere in which you and I can discuss our points of view on this delicate topic. But I believe that artists should make their art. My name is Brendan Moore. That noise you hear is my ventilator. Thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.